Welcome back. You're still tuned in to Salam Media, and this is hashtag Midday Highlights. And today we'll be exploring a major development in Palestinian politics, the recent unity agreement signed between Hamas and Fatah in Beijing. This deal marks a significant attempt to reconcile and unify Palestinian factions amidst ongoing conflict and the ongoing genocide perpetuated by the Israeli occupying forces. And to provide insights and context, we are joined by Her Excellency Hanan Jarrar, the Palestinian Ambassador to South Africa, who's joining us telephonically. Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Salam Media.
Good afternoon, and thank you for hosting us. It has been a long time.
Definitely. It's been a while. We're really excited to hear from you. And I think this is a really important topic that, we're going to be touching on. If you can, just elaborate from your knowledge some of the key components of the recent unity agreement that was signed in Beijing between Hamas and Fatah, and how does this agreement aim to address the long-standing division between the two factions?
Yes, definitely. It was a good news for everyone who cares about the Palestinian cause, and the Palestinian unity is an important part in our struggle also, because it has been a long time that everyone, especially West countries, talking about that there is no unity among the Palestinians. The division has really affected us in a bad way. Fortunately, on the 23rd of July this month, and after the second round of reconciliation talks that was in Beijing, China, 14 Palestinian political factions have signed an agreement of national reconciliation. Of course, many outcomes came out of this reconciliation agreement. Mainly and most importantly is the affirmation of the Palestinian Liberation Organization as the sole and legitimate representative of the Palestinian people. And the main objective was the agreement between the Palestinian political factions to establish by a decree from President Abbas an interim Palestinian reconciliation government, with the main objective of addressing the post-war reconstruction efforts after what's going on in Gaza, and mainly also to arrange for or prepare for the upcoming elections as soon as possible. Mainly, these are the main highlights that we can tap on, and that really affect the Palestinian cause and the Palestinian people for the meantime.
Definitely. And I think if there's one thing that's really standing out is the fact that, China played a significant role in facilitating this agreement. What is your assessment of China's involvement in the reconciliation process, and, how this might influence China's position in Middle Eastern geopolitics, and how they're involved when it comes to addressing this ongoing genocide perpetuated by the Israeli occupying forces?
Of course, this is like a huge development also for China foreign policy, because for quite long time, actually, U.S., Europe, and some other countries were the main brokers for the peace process and for the mediation among Palestinians, including South Africa. As we remember, also South Africa received one Palestinian factions with the objective of achieving reconciliation. So this and China was always away from interfering into the international issues, especially in the Middle East. So we look at it as a real breakthrough and a real change in the foreign policy of China. So both, I'm sure it has been a lot of effort that invested into receiving Palestinian political factions for 2 times. The first time was before 2 months, and this time, which was taking place like a couple of days ago. We do believe that China is also trying to take a place in mediation in the area in the Middle East, and this is not new. It has been before, between when China brought together Iran and Saudi Arabia, and now they are bringing Palestinians political factions together. So we do believe that this is a breakthrough in Chinese foreign policy. And
Mm.
China now is playing a major role in uh, such endeavors.
Mm. If there's one thing that has really stood out for me in this agreement is the emphasis that the Palestinian Liberation Organization, the PLO, will now be the sole legitimate representative of all Palestinians. How do you see this decision affecting the role of Hamas, which is not part of the PLO? And, what are the potential challenges do you think are going to present themselves when it comes to integrating Hamas into the structure? Because we know the difference in ideology when it comes to the approach with dealing with this ongoing genocide between the PLO and Hamas. The ideology is very, very different. Hamas, leaning more on an armed struggle way of doing things. The PLO, leaning more on negotiating and sitting around the table and finding, a long-term peace solution when it comes to the ongoing conflict. The two organizations differing in ideology, do you think would that present itself as an obstacle going forward?
First of all, Hamas and PLO are not equal organizations.
Mm,
PLO is the umbrella that puts under it all the Palestinian political factions with different ideologies. So we have Fatah, we have left, we have right, we have all the spectrum of Palestinian political faction except Hamas. But this is affirming that Palestine Liberation Organization is the sole and legitimate representative of the Palestinian people is not something new. It's something that has been all the time with the Palestinian people. The international community recognized PLO as the sole and legitimate representative of Palestinian people in the 70s. And accordingly, and taking into consideration the international and the regional changes and challenges for Palestinian people, we should not give up on this umbrella. The challenge now, and I don't believe that it's a challenge, I think everything through communication can be solved, is that Hamas to join the PLO. There are different, maybe I don't want to say like ideologies, because as I mentioned, Hamas is a political faction and PLO is an umbrella or an organization that brings together all other Palestinian political factions except Hamas. So I do believe that a major step that Hamas signed the reconciliation agreement and affirming this is that the intention of Hamas now to join the PLO, and from there they can take it. I mean, PLO is not a rigid body or a rigid organization. Everyone can meet each other halfway, and the most important thing is that everyone should be under this umbrella, because the world does not see Hamas or does not see Fatah or does not see any other political party as own. They look at the PLO as a representative of Palestinian people, and unity and bringing together everyone is a source of strength, and it shouldn't be a challenge for any Palestinian political faction to be part of this body that represents the Palestinian people.
mm, mm. Mustafa Bagoti has described this agreement as going much further than previous reconciliation efforts. What do you think are specific steps or mechanisms in this deal which distinguish it from past attempts, and how might they overcome previous obstacles to unity when it comes to Hamas and Fatah?
I think with all what's going on in Gaza and the genocidal war against our people for more than 9 months now, this agreement has a special importance because it came up within the agreement, not only general outlines, but also like specific moves and concrete measures. First of all, that Hamas has the intention to join the PLO because they signed an agreement And this is the first time that signed an agreement that reaffirms the Palestinian PLO as representative for the Palestinian people, which means that they have the intention to join, and this is very important. And second, it says that bluntly, we are going to form reconciliation unity government, an interim one, with main objectives. First of all, to reconstruct Gaza after the genocidal war, and second, to prepare for general elections. General elections, we haven't been witnessing elections in Palestine since 2006. So what makes it special and historical is that it puts concrete items to be implemented and to start with soon. And I do believe that this is historical because really it's the first time since 2006 that we see that Palestinian political factions are coming together with the objective of achieving the best for the Palestinian people.
There's a sense of cautious optimism, I think, among some Palestinians regarding this unity deal, because certainly it's not the first time that something of this kind, it might not be similar, but a deal of this kind has been signed before. How do you think would be the best way to go about, addressing these concerns and this skepticism from those who might doubt the sustainability of this agreement?
Well, to be honest, yes, it's a legitimate way of thinking that this deal also might not work as the previous deals. But let's be optimistic and let's hope that this will work, taking into consideration the amount of casualties that we are suffering from on daily basis. We hope that this really be taken into consideration when the Palestinian political factions start to think of division again. And I think that Beijing is not a small power in the world now that they can overlook or take for granted any agreement. I think that China will always overlook and oversee and supervise the implementation of what has been signed on their land.
And there's been, a strong opposition of this deal, obviously coming out of Israel. They're stating that, they'll be maintaining control over Gaza and have criticized the involvement of Hamas. What do you make of this, of Israel's stance? And do you think this will affect the implementation of this unity agreement in any way?
Well, unfortunately, division was the worst enemy for Palestinian people for quite a long time, and Israel was also feeding always this division and playing on it, saying always that there is no one Palestinian side that Israel can deal with. And for the rest of the international community, it was a legitimate concern. Now we do believe Israel will not be happy, of course, because unity means stronger Palestine, means weaker Israel. And definitely they will not be happy because Israel is your enemy and they don't want the best for you. They want to see you always divided so that they can rule. We hope that Palestinian political factions will take this into consideration and think twice before taking any step, God forbid, for division again.
I think we're going to leave it there, Your Excellency. Thank you so much for giving us your time and engaging with us on this very, very important development.
Thank you so much for hosting us. Thank you.
Well, there you have it there. Her Excellency Hanan Jarrar, Palestinian Ambassador to South Africa, giving us her reaction to the Hamas and Fatah unity agreement that was signed in Beijing yesterday. I think it's going to be really, really interesting going forward to see just how this unity agreement unfolds, because as I mentioned, it's not the first time, and a lot of Palestinians, grantedly so, taking this with a pinch of salt. So we'll have to watch as this unfolds, and hope that every effort to bring peace and stability to Palestine ultimately comes to fruition. We're going to leave it here for now. From myself, Salalo Makwidir, this has been Salam Media Highlights. We'll see you after a bit.